January 31st, 2013. A young woman steps into an elevator at one of the most haunted hotels in America and is never seen alive again. Cameras capture her acting strangely, pressing every button, hiding, waving at someone or something that we never see. Weeks later, her decomposing body is found in the rooftop water tank after guests complain of foul-tasting water. No witnesses, no clear cause of death, just a viral mystery that has captivated the world for over a decade. Was Elisa Lam running from someone, or was it something else entirely? Welcome back to Missing Persons Archives, where we dive into the world's most chilling disappearances. Today, we revisit one of the most infamous and unsettling cases of the 21st century, the disappearance and death of Elisa Lam. This case has it all: unsolved questions, unsettling footage, mental health mysteries, and a hotel with a dark, violent history. If you're fascinated by unsolved cases that blur the lines between reality and the paranormal, be sure to subscribe and click the bell, and let's unravel this together. Elisa Lam was a bright 21-year-old student from Vancouver, Canada, the daughter of Hong Kong immigrants. Like so many her age, she was full of curiosity about the world. In January of 2013, she set out on a solo trip down to the California coast, eventually checking into the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles on January 26th. Initially, Elisa was staying in a shared hostel-style room, but other guests complained of strange behavior. She reportedly left notes on their beds saying "go home" and insisted that they needed passwords to enter. She was moved to a solo room on the 5th floor. On January 31st, Elisa was last seen alive. Reports suggest she was acting strangely throughout the day, including at a bookstore where she seemed confused but harmless. That night, she was allegedly removed from a taping of a TV show for disruptive behavior. Her parents, who Elisa called every day, reported her missing the next day, February the 1st. Their unease grew after days passed without hearing from Elisa, a major red flag given her habit of calling home every day, no matter where she traveled. When the LAPD received the missing person report, detectives moved swiftly to the Cecil Hotel, hoping to find some straightforward explanation for her disappearance. What they encountered was far more unsettling. Inside Elisa's room on the 5th floor, police found her belongings undisturbed. Her laptop sat on the desk along with her clothes, her wallet, and the medications she took daily to manage her bipolar disorder. There were no immediate signs of struggle or forced entry. It was as if Elisa had simply vanished into thin air. In the early stages of the investigation, officers combed through the hotel's common areas. They interviewed staff members, fellow guests, and anyone who may have seen or spoken to Elisa. Search dogs were brought in to sweep the premises, including the rooftop and stairwells. Strangely, the dogs didn't alert to her scent in any location, including the roof, where something far more disturbing would later be discovered. For over a week, the investigation stalled. There were no credible leads and no evidence of Elisa leaving the hotel. Then, on February 13th, LAPD made the decision that would change everything. They released the surveillance footage of Elisa inside the hotel's elevator, filmed on January 31st, the last known sighting of her alive. The footage was bizarre. Elisa was seen stepping into the elevator and pressing a long series of floor buttons, her hand hovering over the panel as if following a specific sequence. She behaved nervously, stepping in and out of the elevator, peeking down the hallway as though someone or something was following her. At times, she made strange, twisting hand movements, almost like she was talking to someone invisible. Internet audiences became obsessed with the video, which rapidly went viral, viewed millions of times across the globe. Speculation exploded, ranging from theories about psychotic breaks to paranormal encounters, and even sinister human involvement. In response to the public frenzy, the police doubled down on their search efforts, scouring the hotel more thoroughly than before. Despite having checked the rooftop early in the investigation, there were areas left unchecked, particularly the large water tanks situated on the roof. The breakthrough came on February 19th, when hotel guests began complaining about low water pressure, discolored tap water, and a foul taste coming from the sinks and showers. A maintenance worker, Santiago Lopez, was dispatched to investigate. What he found was the stuff of nightmares. Inside one of the massive rooftop water tanks floated Elisa Lam's naked, decomposing body. Her clothes, coated in a strange, sand-like substance, were found drifting near her remains. The discovery raised more questions than it answered. How did Elisa access the roof in the first place? The door to the rooftop was supposedly locked, with an active alarm system that would have alerted staff if opened. The only other way was via the building's fire escape, which required navigating outside the building, climbing precarious ladders. No easy feat, especially for a young woman traveling alone. The autopsy did little to clarify the mystery. Initially labeled as inconclusive, the official cause of death was later determined to be accidental drowning. With Elisa's bipolar disorder cited as a contributing factor, toxicology reports showed prescription medication in her system, but no illegal drugs or alcohol. The findings did little to satisfy those following the case, especially given the unsettling circumstances surrounding her disappearance and death. Many theories have sprouted since the exact cause of her disappearance and subsequent death. Let's take a look at those. A cursed hotel. The Cecil wasn't just any hotel. Opened in 1927, the Cecil was originally envisioned as an opulent destination for business travelers and Hollywood elites. Marble lobby floors, stained glass windows, and ornate ceilings signaled its luxury, but that dream quickly soured. Within a few years, the Great Depression struck, and the surrounding neighborhood, now known as Skid Row, fell into decline. As poverty and crime engulfed the area, the Cecil became less a haven for the affluent and more a last stop for society's most desperate. Over the decades, the hotel evolved into a magnet for tragedy. The numbers alone are staggering. Dozens of suicides have been documented within the hotel's walls, so many so that it has earned the nickname the Suicide Hotel. Guests leapt from upper floors onto sidewalks below. Others overdosed or took their lives in isolation. But the Cecil's infamy doesn't end there. It became a literal hunting ground for serial killers. In the mid-1980s, Richard Ramirez, nicknamed the Night Stalker, stalked Los Angeles, committed home invasions, sexual assaults, and satanic murders that terrified the city. During his killing spree, Ramirez lived on the 14th floor of the Cecil Hotel, paying just $14 a night. He would reportedly return to the hotel after his violent crimes, blood-stained clothes hidden in a bag, washing off the evidence of a murder in shared restrooms. In 1991, another serial killer, Austrian journalist Jack Unterweger, checked into the Cecil, possibly as a sick homage to Ramirez. Unterweger, who supposedly rehabilitated after a murder conviction in Austria, was in LA writing about the sex trade. But while staying at the Cecil, he strangled and killed at least 3 women in Los Angeles before being arrested. The building's history reads like a catalog of horror. Elizabeth Short, known posthumously as the Black Dahlia, was seen drinking at the Cecil's bar shortly before her brutal and still unsolved murder in 1947. There have been unconfirmed claims of unsolved murders within the hotel, bodies found decomposing in rooms, and rumors of people vanishing after checking in, never to be seen again. And then there's the supernatural. Guests and employees have long reported strange occurrences: phantom footsteps in empty hallways, unexplained cold spots, shadow figures lurking near stairwells, and the feeling of being watched. Paranormal investigators have called it a hotbed for dark energy, a psychic sponge that absorbs trauma and despair only to project it back onto those who stay within its walls. The building's chilling reputation became so pervasive that the Cecil has been featured in books, documentaries, and pop culture, even inspiring the 5th season of American Horror Story Hotel. After Elisa Lam's death, the hotel rebranded as Stay on Main, attempting to shed its infamous reputation. But the darkness lingers. Many wonder, does the Cecil Hotel cause people to unravel? Are the violent events connected by coincidence? Or is there something fundamentally cursed about this place? When Elisa Lam stepped into the Cecil in January of 2013, did she unknowingly step into a trap set by the building itself? The elevator game. The footage from the Cecil Hotel elevator wasn't just strange, it became one of the most infamous and dissected videos in internet history. Millions of people around the world watched with morbid fascination as Elisa Lam stepped into the elevator on January 31st, 2013. She appeared nervous, glancing quickly over her shoulder before pressing a seemingly random series of floor buttons. Her choices were strange, especially because she included several lower-level floors, and what many believe was the door hold button, likely why the elevator doors remained open far longer than normal. But it wasn't just buttons. Elisa's behavior grew increasingly erratic. She pressed herself into the corner of the elevator, peeked out into the hallway multiple times, as if expecting or fearing someone's approach. She stepped out and back inside repeatedly, her movements becoming more frantic. Then came the unsettling hand gestures. Her fingers splayed and twisted in unusual fluid motions, almost like she was moving through water or communicating with something unseen. The footage itself quickly sparked controversy. Viewers noticed peculiarities, a timestamp that seemed obscured, jump cuts suggesting chunks of footage had been removed, and sections that appeared slowed down unnaturally. Why was this tape edited? Was it to protect someone else's identity, or something more sinister? The speculation ranged from police cover-up to supernatural interference. Among the most chilling theories was the idea that Elisa Lam had been playing the elevator game. The elevator game isn't just an urban myth. It's one of the most notorious paranormal rituals on the internet, originating from Korean online forums. According to the legend, if you're in a building with at least 10 floors, you can summon the otherworldly by following a strict sequence of button presses. Players are instructed to press a combination of floors in a precise order, usually something like 4, 2, 6, 2, 10, 5. Upon reaching the 5th floor, a woman may enter the elevator. She is not to be spoken to or looked at. If you've done the ritual correctly, pressing the final button will take you back not to the 1st floor, but to another dimension entirely. In this eerie world, the surroundings appear familiar, but something feels wrong. Electronics cease to work. The view from the windows turns strange. Vast emptiness or glowing red crosses in the distance. People report feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, as though they are being watched by shadowy figures. Returning to your own world is said to be difficult, requiring precise steps. Fail to follow them, and you might be trapped in this alternate dimension forever. For many watching Elisa Lam's last known final moments, it was impossible to ignore the similarities. She pressed a strange combination of buttons. She appeared to react to something or someone no one else could see. She left the elevator as if following an invisible guide, never to return. Her tragic death, combined with the chilling behaviors captured on video, aligned too closely with the legends of the elevator game to be dismissed by the internet's vast community of true crime enthusiasts and paranormal researchers. Was Elisa unknowingly mimicking the elevator game, or was she purposely engaging in the ritual? Did the sequence of buttons and her strange gestures mark an innocent coincidence, or did something beyond comprehension lead her from the elevator and ultimately to her grim fate? To this day, no one knows. But the unsettling footage remains, a haunting reminder of the thin veil between reality and something much darker. Murdered. One of the most persistent theories remains that Elisa Lam was murdered. Supporters of this theory point to several key details. First, the way her body was found, submerged in a covered water tank on the restricted rooftop of the Cecil Hotel. To access the tank, Elisa would have had to make it past locked doors equipped with security alarms, climb a ladder, and maneuver a heavy metal lid, something many believe would be extremely difficult for a young woman of Elisa's size and condition to accomplish alone, especially if she were disoriented or in crisis. In fact, some maintenance workers testified that the lid was found closed, which would have been impossible for Elisa to shut after entering the tank. Later reports reversed this detail, claiming it was open when discovered, but the inconsistency continues to raise suspicions. Second, the infamous elevator footage. Critics of the accidental death theory argue that Elisa's behavior in the video is indicative of fear. Her peeking around corners, frantic pressing of buttons, and erratic hand gestures suggest that she may have been hiding from someone. While the footage shows no visible pursuer, the possibility remains that whoever was following her stayed out of frame. Compounding this suspicion are allegations that the footage was tampered with. The timestamp is blurred, sections appear slowed down, and some experts believe as much as a minute of footage was cut. Why would police release altered footage? Was it to hide someone who appeared briefly on camera, perhaps trailing Elisa? The murder theory also gravitates toward the sinister history of the Cecil Hotel itself. This isn't just any old hotel. This is a place nicknamed the Hotel of Death, infamous for crime, suicide, and depravity. Given this dark history, it's not hard for people to imagine that something violent could have happened to Elisa as well. Perhaps a staff member, another guest, or a transient individual with sinister intent. There are even grimmer speculations. Some believe Elisa may have been assaulted, murdered, and her body disposed of in the water tank to avoid detection. The fact that her clothes were found floating separately in the tank, coated with an unknown sand-like substance, raises eyebrows. Skeptics point out that the autopsy report was inconclusive at first and lacked definitive sexual assault testing due to decomposition. To those who suspect foul play, the lack of trauma on the body does not rule out suffocation, poisoning, or a carefully staged murder. Adding to the intrigue are reports from guests staying at the hotel during Elisa's disappearance, who claimed they saw or heard disturbances on the upper floors. Though these reports remain unverified, online sleuths have attempted to identify potential suspects among hotel residents and staff, analyzing social media profiles, blog posts, and unverified tips, though none have led to credible conclusions. Some darker corners of the internet go even further, linking Elisa's death to occult rituals, suggesting that she may have been a victim of a satanic or demonic practice within the hotel. This is amplified by the building's long-lasting reputation for being cursed or haunted, and the eerie symbolism of the water tank itself, a hidden vessel that swallowed her whole, like some modern-day sacrificial offering. At the end of the day, no arrests were made, and the official narrative remains unchanged. But for many, the murder theory persists because too many elements of the case feel staged, manipulated, or simply too strange for coincidence. Mental illness. One of the most widely accepted and heartbreaking theories surrounding the disappearance and death of Elisa Lam centers on her struggles with mental illness. Elisa was open about her condition. On her Tumblr blog, Nouvelle, she chronicled her battle with bipolar disorder and depression, sharing the highs and lows of her life with startling honesty. Those close to the case, including investigators and mental health professionals, have long suspected that her tragic end was the result of an acute mental health crisis. According to records, Elisa had been diagnosed with bipolar I disorder, a condition characterized by extreme mood swings ranging from depressive lows to manic or hypomanic highs. People with this diagnosis can sometimes experience psychosis, hallucinations, paranoia, or delusions, especially if their condition is untreated or their medication regimen is disrupted. The toxicology report following her death revealed troubling details. While traces of her prescribed medications, such as bupropion, an antidepressant, lamotrigine, a mood stabilizer, and quetiapine, an antipsychotic, were found in her system, the levels were low, and notably, some medications were absent. This suggested Elisa may not have been taking her medications consistently in the days leading up to her death. For someone with bipolar disorder, even a short lapse in medication can trigger severe episodes of psychosis, confusion, or dangerous behavior. Witnesses during her stay at the Cecil Hotel reported unsettling behavior. Elisa was said to have left odd notes around the hostel-style shared room, notes with cryptic phrases like "go home" or instructions to stay away. Fellow guests became so uncomfortable that hotel staff eventually moved her to a private room. In the hotel lobby, she was seen talking loudly to herself, muttering phrases like, "I'm crazy, but so is LA." She was also escorted out of certain restricted areas of the hotel for wandering where guests weren't allowed. These incidents paint the picture of someone who was likely experiencing a serious mental health breakdown. Psychosis can manifest in feelings of paranoia, believing one is being followed or hunted, auditory or visual hallucinations, disorganized thinking, and impulsive actions. This could explain why Elisa appeared to be hiding or evading someone in the infamous elevator footage, even though there was no one there. Her erratic gestures, her glances, and her eventual retreat into the hotel's most restricted areas could have been the result of a psychotic episode. Her final destination, the rooftop water tank, was an extremely difficult area to access. The roof was locked and alarmed, though reports state the fire escape was accessible. Some speculate Eliza, driven by delusions, may have climbed the fire escape undetected. Once on the roof, her behavior could have been influenced by hallucinations or disoriented thinking, leading her to climb into the water tank, possibly believing it was a place of safety or escape. Another tragic possibility is the accidental death through what's called drowning during psychosis. In such states, individuals can become overwhelmed by delusional beliefs and act in ways that defy self-preservation instincts, like willingly entering a dangerous environment, unaware of the lethal risks. The timing of her behavior is also telling. Earlier in her trip, Eliza visited San Diego and appeared to enjoy her travels, frequently updating her social media. But something shifted when she arrived at the Cecil Hotel. Whether it was the stress of solo travel, environmental triggers, or lapse in medication, many mental health experts believe Eliza entered a full psychotic break in her final days. Ultimately, the official cause of death was listed as accidental drowning, with bipolar disorder noted as a significant contributing factor. There was no evidence of physical trauma, assault, or sexual violence. While many sensational theories persist, the mental illness explanation remains the most grounded in clinical evidence. Bizarre coincidences. The Lam-Eliza TB test. Perhaps the most unsettling coincidence tied to Elisa Lam's disappearance is something that seems to teeter on the edge of reality. A coincidence so eerie, it feels like it was ripped from the pages of a supernatural thriller. In the weeks surrounding Eliza's disappearance and the discovery of her body, Los Angeles was facing a serious tuberculosis outbreak, centered largely around the Skid Row area, just a few blocks away from the Cecil Hotel. The outbreak was so severe that health officials scrambled to conduct mass testing among the homeless population, fearing a public health emergency in one of the most impoverished and vulnerable communities in the city. But here's where things get bizarre. The name of the rapid diagnostic test used to screen for tuberculosis in this outbreak was called the Lam-Eliza test. That's not an internet joke or conspiracy creation. This is a legitimate, medically recognized test. Lam refers to liporubinomannan, a component of the TB bacteria's cell wall, and ELISA stands for enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay, a common biochemical technique used in diagnostic labs. So in black and white clinical records, Lam-Eliza appeared over and over in medical reports and disease monitoring during the exact period Elisa Lam vanished and was later found dead in the water tank. Her name, Elisa Lam, perfectly mirrored the name of the test being used to detect a disease outbreak mere blocks from where her disappearance took place. Internet sleuths quickly latched onto this. Was this an insane coincidence? Some called it a glitch in the Matrix, the universe winking in the most unsettling way possible. Others speculated something even darker. Was Elisa Lam somehow involved in the outbreak? Could she have been a biological carrier? Was her death tied to a larger cover-up, an experiment gone wrong? The rabbit hole only deepened. Some online theorists spun elaborate tales about government biological experiments, secret pathogen carriers, or even theories about Elisa being silenced because of some hidden knowledge. These ideas, while speculative and unproven, only gained momentum due to the overwhelming weirdness of her name matching a diagnostic tool in the midst of a public health scare. Of course, skeptics chalk this up to nothing more than a coincidence, a strange but ultimately explainable alignment of names rooted in medical terminology and bacterial components. But for many, the timing, the location, and the sheer improbability of this name alignment are simply too unsettling to ignore. The Lam-Eliza test became one of the defining puzzles in Elisa Lam's case, proof to some But there are layers to her story that remain hidden, layers that stretch far beyond mental health struggles or tragic accidents. To this day, the coincidence remains one of the most discussed oddities surrounding Elisa's death, with online forums, documentaries, and even academic discussions continuing to revisit it. Whether it was chance, synchronicity, or something more sinister, it remains a haunting piece of an already inexplicable mystery. Some believe Elisa's death was a tragic accident, a psychotic episode that tragically ended in her death. Others are convinced she was murdered, possibly by hotel staff or by someone that she met during her travels. Conspiracy theorists point to organ trafficking, government mind control, and even satanic ritual activity linked to the hotel's grim past. And of course, many believe the Cecil Hotel's lingering darkness claimed another soul. Since Elisa's death, the hotel has been rebranded multiple times, most recently as Stay on Main, but its sinister history remains. Documentaries, podcasts, films, and even urban legends continue to resurrect Elisa's story, with new theories surfacing every year. Her grieving family pursued legal action, suing the hotel for negligence, arguing that the Cecil failed to secure dangerous areas like the rooftop. The lawsuit was dismissed in 2015, with the court ruling that Elisa's death was unforeseeable. But the unanswered questions persisted. Why did the search dogs fail to detect her on the roof? Why did the elevator footage appear to be slowed down or edited? And why, in a place with such grim history as the Cecil Hotel, did yet another tragedy unfold in such baffling circumstances? The story of Elisa Lam remains one of the most haunting and puzzling modern disappearances, an unsettling blend of true crime, urban legend, and internet-fueled mystery. So what do you think happened to Elisa Lam? Was it mental illness, a tragic accident, or something far more sinister tied to the haunted halls of the Cecil Hotel? The case remains officially closed, but for many, the mystery is far from over. Drop your theories in the comments below, and if you have any tips or personal experiences at the Cecil Hotel, let us know. Thanks for watching Missing Persons Archives. Stay vigilant, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next mystery.